Okay, so let's get this straight. You followed someone here, and that someone was your friend.
Yep.
I just want to know who it was. Who was it that you followed here? Who did we summon?
I think his name was Barry? No. Barney? No. Brushy. Yeah. It was Brushy. Brushy the Brush. Mm-hmm. What? What's wrong?
It's been a long time. Oh no. Hello, dearies. It's me again, back in high definition. You can see every single eyebrow hair. Gah. Enough of that. Let's talk about what we're going to talk about today, and that is the race of gnomes. Gnome communities are a buzz of activity. They're kind of like dwarves in their sense of love of community and working as a community. Gnomes love everything about life. They embrace life to the fullest. Their communities are a buzz of activity from mechanical contraptions to explosions from experimentation to laughter and joy. They just love life and embrace everything about life. If you're playing a gnome, you've got to be full of energy. Somebody who just embraces everything they encounter, and it just shines through in every part of their expression, every part of what they do, what they say, what they love, how they do things. It's just everywhere for the gnome. Let's get the good side of my nose and not that. Yeah. Is that going to work? No. Just embrace me for who I am. Gnomes are only about 3 feet tall and weigh somewhere around 35 to 40 pounds. So they're lightweight characters in terms of their appearance and their size, but boy do they make up for that with their personality. They usually have fair hair, and their hair usually sticks out in crazy, kind of like wild scientist hair, because it kind of expresses the enthusiasm they have in their souls, in their very souls. A gnome's personality, it really appears in just looking at them, from their clothing to their appearance and their hair. The males have these elaborate beards that are actually well groomed and are sometimes brought into forks, or they're very, very neatly groomed beards, but their hair is wild and crazy. Their clothing, although in earth tones, does express their personality through the adornments that they put and the decorations they have on their clothing. Gnomes live for 3 to 5 centuries, and they embrace every moment of those 3 to 5 centuries, loving every moment of life. They just seize the day with everything they do. They're enthusiastic and they love life and everything around them. Am I expressing that well enough? Even though they have 3 to 5 centuries of life, gnomes are worried that they can't fit everything in to that period of time, so they are busy getting as much out of life as possible in those 3 to 5 centuries, which is really odd to humans who think maybe they'll get bored, living for so long, but they don't. They want to cram as much experience into those 3 to 5 centuries as possible. Gnomes speak as if they can't get the thoughts out of their head fast enough. They just keep talking, but they also are good listeners, though. And when they listen, they will every now and then, give an enthusiastic yes, or something like that. But they will listen, and they're very good at listening. But when they speak, it just comes out with great enthusiasm. Gnomes love jokes and pranks and bad puns, but they're also very serious when it comes to the important things of life. Many of them are engineers, tinkerers, alchemists, all those kind of things that explore what can be done and how much further we can advance knowledge. They dream large, they're not afraid of making mistakes, and when they make mistakes, they can laugh at themselves and they laugh at the stupid mistakes they made, but then they learn from those mistakes and they move forward eagerly and enthusiastically. Now let's talk about where they live. Gnomes make their homes in hilly, wooded lands, and their burrows are underground. And they're usually hidden by clever inventions or clever disguises, but also magic. If you're looking for a burrow of the gnomes and you're not their friend, you probably won't find it. But if you do find it because you are their friend, then you'll find the brightest, most beautiful dwellings under the earth. And they don't spend all their time under the earth either. They're not like the dwarves who obsess with the mining and going underground. They do enjoy the sunshine and the brightness of the world above. Gnomes that settle outside of their own burrow are usually either tinkerers or inventors or engineers, and sometimes tutors to the wealthy. And because they live so long, one tutor can stay with a family over several generations, teaching their children and their children's children and their children's children's children. So that's what you'll find them doing if they're outside. If you're playing a gnome and you're outside of your own community, you'll be either some kind of inventor, engineer, or tinkerer, or you're a tutor to a wealthy family. Now, when it comes to names for gnomes, they have so many names, and different people call them different names. The elders, their mum, their dad, their aunts, their best friends, and they have nicknames as well. They have so many different names. But when they come across like humans who are, a little bit sticky about names and wanting to know one name, they'll usually stick to 3 names: their clan name, their family name, and maybe a nickname, and just go by 3 names out in the world where people are a bit more funny about names. But most gnomes have like 10 or 15 different names within their own community. Now, gnomes are curious and impulsive, so if they're out on an adventure, they're doing it to further their knowledge, but to have a bit of fun as well. And they will explore everything they can, which can be annoying to other adventurers when they're in a party. So remember, if you're playing a gnome and then you hear about some kind of musician or you hear about something curious that people talk about, you will want to go and explore that and slow the mission down a little bit, because even though there is an end goal, you will want to find out about the thing you just heard about and want to go and explore that. And that can be quite annoying to other players sometimes, but it makes it a lot more fun, a bit more of a fun adventure when you're a gnome, because you want to know everything about everything and you want to find out about all that stuff that you hear about. So you'll go and do that. So now let's talk about gnome traits. What are the benefits of being a gnome? Well, to start with, your intelligence score increases by 2, which is always a good thing. In terms of alignment, gnomes are usually good. And even the chaotic good ones, when they do tricks and they do things like that, they're only doing it for good fun, not in any kind of evil sense or trickery. Gnomes are good at heart. They have very pure hearts. So when you play a gnome, you'd never do anything evil, and you'd never allow your party members, or you'd try to stop your party members from doing anything evil. You are a good creature. Now for speed, as always, when it comes to the smaller creatures like dwarves and halflings, your speed is 25 feet. Just like dwarves, you have dark vision because you live a lot of the time underground. And this has a great advantage when you're exploring dungeons and other such dark places, or sneaking around at night, trying to spy on people, sneak into places, those sorts of things. It's very good to have dark vision. Another great thing is that you have advantage on intelligence, wisdom, and charisma saving throws against magic. You can speak, read, and write Common and Gnomish. There are 2 sub-races of gnomes, the forest gnomes and the rock gnomes. Each has a different advantage. When you are choosing what type you want to be, you need to think carefully about this. Forest gnomes have a knack for magic and illusion, and are very quick and fast. They hide themselves very well within the forest. With a forest gnome, your dexterity score increases by 1. You can also speak with small creatures within the forest area, communicating with them, finding out information from them. They can be your spy network within the forest, which is a really good advantage to have if you are staying within your forest. But you can also speak to creatures anywhere else, small creatures, rats, mice, other such things, to find out as much information as you can. Now let's talk about rock gnomes. Rock gnomes are probably the most well-known of the gnomes that you will experience. They have excellent inventiveness and great hardiness. They're the tinkerers, the engineers, the ones who create things and play with things and invent things. As a rock gnome, your constitution score increases by 1. When doing an intelligence history check on any items that are magical or alchemical or mechanical in nature, you get double your proficiency bonus, which is a great advantage to have. You have proficiency with artisans' tools or tinkerers' tools, with which you can create a number of different things which can help you. You can spend 1 hour and 10 gold pieces worth of materials to create a clockwork creation to help you with your adventure. It lasts 24 hours unless you spend an hour fixing it, and then it lasts another 24 hours, and you can just keep fixing it if you spend an hour fixing it at the end of every 24 hours. You can have up to 3 of these devices working at the same time. The devices you can create are a clockwork toy, a fire starter, or a music box. The clockwork toy is an excellent distraction or something to distract your enemies or people. It moves 5 feet per turn in a random direction and makes the noises of the animal or creature that the clockwork toy is made to represent. The fire starter can light a candle, it can light a tobacco pipe, it can do any number of different things. It can start a campfire if you want, but it requires an action to use. The music box plays a song, and once it finishes the song, it stops, or it stops when you close the box. You can open the box again and start the song again if you wish. It's a song of your choosing, but only one song. So that, my friends, is a brief overview of the race of gnomes. I love playing gnomes because they're full of adventure and energy and love of life and creation of things, and they can cause a lot of mischief, but they are good-hearted, kind-hearted creatures. They're a lot of fun to play. If you've played a gnome, let me know down below any fun adventures you've had in the comments. Let me know what you've done as a gnome in an adventure, or if you're planning on using a gnome, how are you going to use that gnome? What are you going to do with that gnome? And what type of gnome are you going to be? The forest gnome or the rock gnome? Anyway, that's all for today. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week. Bye for now.